Imagine walking into a room every single day, knowing everyone's whispering about you. Knowing they're laughing at your clothes, your hair, your existence. That was my life for years. But one day, I decided enough was enough. And what happened next? Well, let's just say the people who tried to break me ended up wishing they'd never crossed me. Hello, everyone. My name is Emily, and I'm from a small town in the north of England. I'm a writer now, but today, I want to share a very personal story from my teenage years, a story of pain, betrayal, and the sweetest kind of justice. If you've ever been underestimated or made to feel small, hit that like button, subscribe, and let's dive into a story that might just touch your heart. My name is Emily, and I grew up in a place where everyone knew everyone. It was a small town, the kind where the local chip shop was the biggest hangout spot. I was 13 when I started secondary school, and I was so excited. I thought it'd be like the movies, new friends, new adventures. But the reality? It was nothing like that. My mum was a single parent, working 2 jobs, cleaning houses by day, waitressing at night. We didn't have much. My uniform was second-hand, a bit too big, with frayed cuffs I tried to hide by rolling them up. My backpack? A faded thing from a charity shop, patched with duct tape. I didn't think it mattered. I was wrong. Kids notice everything. The first day, I walked into the classroom, my shoes squeaking on the linoleum floor. I could feel eyes on me. A group of girls in the back, let's call them the popular crowd, led by a girl named Chloe, started whispering. Their giggles felt like tiny needles pricking my skin. I checked my reflection in the window, wondering if I had something on my face. I didn't, but that was the day I became Scruffy Emily. Chloe was everything I wasn't. She had perfect hair, perfect clothes, and a perfect smile that hid a vicious streak. She was the queen bee, and her friends followed her every move. They called me names: Charity Case, Poor Girl, Scruffy. Every time I passed them in the corridor, Chloe would toss her hair and say something like, "Oh, Emily, did you borrow that jumper from a bin?" Her friends would erupt in laughter, and I'd feel my face burn, my stomach twisting into knots. It wasn't just words. One day in year 8, I opened my locker to find a crumpled note. Voice trembles slightly. My hands shook as I unfolded it. In messy handwriting, it read, "Why don't you just disappear? Nobody likes you." My heart pounded so hard I thought it might burst. I shoved the note in my pocket and ran to the bathroom, locking myself in a stall. I didn't cry, not then. I wouldn't let 'em win. Lunchtime was the worst. The cafeteria was a war zone, with cliques staking out their tables like territories. I'd stand in the doorway, tray in hand, scanning for a seat. No one ever waved me over. Once, I tried sitting at a half-empty table, but Chloe's friend, Lauren, looked at me and said, "This seat's taken." The whole table snickered as I walked away, my tray shaking in my hands. Eventually, I stopped trying. I started eating in the bathroom. Pause for effect. Picture this: a 13-year-old girl, sitting on a toilet seat, balancing a sandwich on her lap, trying not to crinkle the foil too loudly. The air smelled like damp tiles and cheap soap. It was humiliating, but it was better than facing their laughter. I didn't tell anyone, not my mum. She was already exhausted, her hands cracked from cleaning chemicals. Not the teachers, they'd just say, "Kids will be kids." At night, I'd lie in bed, staring at the cracks in my ceiling, replaying every insult. Maybe they're right, I thought. Maybe I am worthless. By year 10, I was a ghost in my own life. I'd learned to make myself invisible, head down, book in hand, avoiding eye contact. But one day, everything changed. I was sitting on the edge of the playground, reading a battered copy of Jane Eyre. My hair fell over my face like a curtain, shielding me from the world. Then I heard footsteps. I braced myself for another insult, but instead, a girl sat beside me. Her name was Hannah. She had kind eyes and a quiet voice. "What are you reading?" she asked. I was so stunned I could barely answer. "Jane Eyre," I mumbled, waiting for the punchline. But there wasn't one. She just smiled and said, "I love that book." Hannah was different. She didn't care about my clothes or my background. She saw me. Over the next few weeks, we started talking more. She invited me to sit with her at lunch, and for the first time, I didn't eat in the bathroom. It felt like a miracle. Hannah's friendship gave me something I hadn't felt in years: hope. But the bullying didn't stop. Chloe and her crew still targeted me, and I was tired of it. I wasn't going to let them define me anymore. I started thinking, how do I show them I'm not who they think I am? I'd always been good at writing. In English class, my essays got top marks, even if Chloe rolled her eyes when the teacher praised me. So, I decided to use that. Our school had a yearly talent showcase, a big event where students performed skits, sang, or read poems. Chloe always dominated it, strutting on stage like she owned it. This year, I was going to take that stage. I spent weeks writing a short story. It was about a girl who rises above cruelty, who finds her strength despite being beaten down. Every night, I'd sit at my desk, scribbling under a dim lamp, pouring my heart into it. My hands cramped, but I kept going. This wasn't just a story, it was my rebellion. Hannah helped me practice. We'd sit in her bedroom, and I'd read my story aloud, my voice shaking at first but growing stronger. She'd clap and say, "Emily, this is incredible." For the first time, I started to believe in myself. The night of the showcase, my stomach was a knot of nerves. I wore my best outfit, a simple dress I'd saved up to buy. Backstage, Chloe smirked at me. "What are you doing here, Scruffy?" she said, loud enough for everyone to hear. My face burned, but I clenched my fists and thought, just wait. When my name was called, I walked onto the stage, the spotlight blinding. The auditorium was packed, hundreds of students, teachers, parents. My heart pounded, but I took a deep breath and started reading. My story was raw, honest. It wasn't about Chloe directly, but anyone who'd been in that school could feel the truth in it. I described the loneliness of eating alone, the sting of cruel words, the quiet strength it takes to keep going. My voice trembled at first, but as I kept going, it grew steady. The room was silent, hanging on every word. When I finished, there was a pause, a heartbeat where I thought I'd failed. Then the applause started, slow at first, then roaring. People were on their feet. I saw Hannah in the front row, clapping wildly. I saw teachers wiping their eyes. And I saw Chloe, sitting in the back, her face pale, her smirk gone. That night, something shifted. My story won first place in the showcase. The principal called me up to accept a small trophy, and the crowd cheered again. I could feel Chloe's eyes burning into me, but I didn't care. For the first time, I felt seen, not as Scruffy Emily, but as Emily, the girl who had something to say. After the show, people I'd never spoken to came up to me. "That was amazing," they said. I had no idea you went through that. Even a few of Chloe's friends looked at me differently, like they were seeing me for the first time. Chloe herself? She didn't say a word. She just grabbed her bag and stormed out. The next day at school, things were different. The whispers stopped. No one called me charity case. Chloe avoided me, her confidence shaken. I heard later that she'd been furious, ranting to her friends about how unfair it was that I'd won. But her words didn't hurt anymore. I'd taken her power away, not with cruelty, but with my own strength. That moment on stage was my revenge. Not because I humiliated Chloe, but because I proved her wrong. I wasn't worthless. I wasn't invisible. I was Emily, and I was enough. Looking back, those years were brutal, but they taught me something invaluable: resilience. They taught me that kindness, like Hannah's, can change everything. And they taught me that sometimes, the best revenge isn't hurting someone back. It's rising above, proving to yourself and the world that you're stronger than they ever imagined. I still think about that girl in the bathroom stall, eating her sandwich alone. If I could go back, I'd tell her, hold on. You're going to be okay. You're going to be more than okay. If this story resonated with you, smash that like button and share it with someone who needs to hear it. In the comments, tell me, what's the most satisfying moment of justice you've ever experienced or witnessed? And if you want more stories about overcoming the odds, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss a thing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.